exciting, I have to say. It's going to help move Kenya into a new future.
We are confident, therefore, that our cooperation with PowerAfrica will lead to a long-term strategic partnership that will help KenGen to bring megawatts online and make a positive impact not only on the lives of Kenyans but on all East Africans. KenGen, being a geothermal development leader, is also committed to championing building capacities of neighboring countries in the development of geothermal as a means of making available clean and affordable energy in this region. Our partnership with PowerAfrica is not only beneficial to Kenya, but to the entire African continent. We are therefore happy to be part of this partnership, which seeks to enhance the volume and capacity of power supply in Kenya, thereby creating a conducive investment climate and enabling sustainable economic growth.
We recall the U.S. African Leaders Summit in 2014 when President Obama reaffirmed that PowerAfrica's reach extends across all the sub-Saharan Africa and tripled PowerAfrica's goals to work towards adding 30,000 megawatts of new clean electricity generation capacity and increasing electricity access by at least 60 million new connections. In his words during his last visit to Africa, President Obama rightly said, "Even with Africa's impressive progress, we must acknowledge that many of these gains rest on fragile foundation. And alongside new wealth, hundreds of millions of Africans still endure extreme poverty. Alongside high-tech hubs of innovation, many Africans are crowded into shanty towns without power or running water, a level of poverty that is an insult on human dignity."
It's, of course, a particular pleasure to be here for this very important launch, this launch of a new partnership between the Kenya Electricity Generating Company Limited, KenGen, and the U.S. PowerAfrica Initiative. And our goal here is to work with you to bring 2,500 megawatts of low-cost, clean power online in Kenya over the next 10 years. And I think when we succeed, it will in fact be truly transformative. So in June 2013, President Obama, of course, launched PowerAfrica as a partnership between the U.S. government, African governments, bilateral and multilateral partners, and the private sector. And the private sector involvement obviously is a particularly crucial part of this. But the goal is really to double access to electricity across sub-Saharan Africa. And to meet this goal, the United States and its partners recognized that public and private sectors would really have to work together, really to reinvent energy development, power generation in Africa. And today, PowerAfrica is a diverse coalition representing 120 public and private partners who collectively have committed to investing an estimated $43 billion in Africa's energy future, to really realizing the goal of connecting more people. And the goal is to connect an additional 60 million people and businesses and to generate 30,000 megawatts of power, of clean energy over the next several years. I think it is an extraordinary thing. I do think that it will be, as I said before, transformative. In building on over 50 years of collaboration with the U.S. government, Kenya was one of the very first countries to sign a cooperative framework with PowerAfrica in 2014. And this framework directly supports the government of Kenya's Vision 2030 goals, rapidly increasing electricity generation and transforming Kenya into a newly industrialized middle-income country. And in Kenya, PowerAfrica is actively supporting a group of programs that will generate more than 1,200 megawatts of clean, renewable energy. It's working with the Ministry of Energy, the private sector, to tackle some of the most pressing challenges that Kenya has in the power sector. We're assisting in revising the grid code, strengthening management of intermittent renewable energy resources. We're also developing new models to attract domestic and international investment to geothermal, wind, and solar power, all areas of great potential for Kenyan electricity generation. I do think that one of the key things to emphasize here is the clean aspect of what KenGen plans to do. In a world that faces, frankly, a genuine long-term threat from climate change, Kenya's commitment to generate power in a way that is sustainable and that will help our environment is truly commendable. And I just want to thank KenGen for helping to lead the way, the government of Kenya, everybody who's involved in making certain that this power is in fact going to be green. Obviously, one of the key challenges on these sorts of projects is financing and finding the money to build projects like this. And so, you know, we were pleased to work as PowerAfrica with the ministry and with others to launch a CEO-level steering committee to develop a roadmap that will raise between 14 and 18 billion US dollars for the energy sector, really to meet Kenya's goal of generating this power. And the funding for this, the 14 to 18 billion, will largely come from the private sector, but it's critical to have a plan and then to implement that plan.